Local24radio.com for more information.
Hello and welcome to Wavescan, the International DX program from Adventist World Radio. Researched and written in Indianapolis by Adrian Peterson and produced in the studios of WRMI Shortwave in Okeechobee, Florida. I'm Jeff White. A reminder that the time zone has changed in North America today, so you may note some of the timings of Wavescan at a different UTC time, but the same local time as of this week. Today on Wavescan, French radio in the South Pacific, New Caledonia, Part 3. Another report from the High Frequency Coordination Conference in Muscat, Oman. Our Philippine DX report from Henry Umahai, and our special QSL of the week, the first QSL that someone received. Wavescan presents Focus on the South Pacific, a year-long series of reports on radio broadcasting and listening in the South Pacific. In our program today, we return to the radio scene on the island of New Caledonia in the exotic South Pacific. On this occasion, we pick up the story in the year 1940. This was at the stage when the amateur broadcasting station, FK8AA, was beginning to fade away and give place to the new government station, Radio Pacifique. More now from Ray Robinson.
Thanks, Jeff. The main island of New Caledonia is long and thin, rugged and mountainous. In fact, it's over 200 miles long, with a population today of over 250,000. To cover that area in 1940, the new Radio Pacifique, Radio Numea being the capital at the southern end of New Caledonia, used a low-power 100-watt shortwave transmitter co-located with the communication station in Numea, FJP. Their transmission on 6122 kHz was first heard in eastern Australia in April 1940, and it was described as a loud signal. Around the same time, a medium-wave transmitter was noted on the air under the same call sign, FJP, and it was heard first in Sydney, Australia on 558 kHz and later on 560 kHz with a parallel relay from the shortwave service. This unit, probably at 300 watts, was in use from July 1941, but it was closed in May of the following year due to what was described as the wartime conditions. During the Pacific War, Radio Pacifique remained on the air on shortwave with locally produced programming in the French language, though occasionally they did venture into English language programming. On occasions also, this station was noted with special programming under the title All Services Radio, which was beamed to servicemen on active duty in the South Pacific. The signal from Radio Pacifique, Radio Numea, was usually transmitted in the 49-meter band, and over a period of time, half a dozen different channels in this band were noted in Australia, New Zealand, and the United States. Towards the end of the war, Radio Pacifique began again using two transmitters, one on medium wave with 300 watts on 700 kHz, and the other on shortwave with half a kilowatt on exactly 6,000 kHz. It should also be noted that Radio Pacifique was often wrongly identified in radio magazines of the era under the amateur call sign FK8AA. When the new Radio Pacifique consolidated its on-air presence, the amateur call sign FK8AA was retired until it re-entered amateur radio service only subsequent to the end of the war. In 1953, two new transmitters were installed for Radio Numea. The first unit was a French-made 1 kilowatt transmitter that radiated on 6035 kHz through a doublet antenna. A second unit, rated at half a kilowatt, had previously been in use on the medium wave channel 1500 kHz. It was reactivated with a vertical antenna on the tropical band channel 3375 kHz in August 1953. It's understood that these units were installed in a transmitter facility that was already on the air in suburban Noumea. During the 1960s, Radio Noumea prepared programming for broadcast on shortwave that was beamed to the New Hebrides in French and to the Wallis and Futuna Islands in French and Wallisian. These broadcasts were on the air as an external service for somewhere around 10 years. However, in 1968, work began on the construction of a totally new radio and TV station for New Caledonia. The site for the studio building was on Rue Guy-Nemer, in an outer suburban area of Noumea, and the transmitter facility was located on Sainte-Marie Island, opposite Noumea City. And then in 1970, Radio Noumea was noted with a signal on medium wave 1420 kHz. This 4 kilowatt unit carried the main service temporarily for the capital city area during work on the major medium wave station on 666 kHz. A local map of the capital city area and nearby coastal waters shows 3 islands that fringe the Noumea harbour area that were all classified as Sainte-Marie. A Google Earth search shows the 3 islands, 2 of which seem to have been the site for the radio transmitter stations. The irregularly shaped Ile Ngea is the largest of the 3 Sainte-Marie islands, and in the centre of this island is a white building that looks like it could have been the transmitter building containing the 3 shortwave transmitters of 20 kilowatts each. Interestingly, the eastern, almost semicircular bay is known as Antenna Bay. Off the southern edge of the larger island of Ile Ngea is the smaller Sainte-Marie island known as Urere Island, where a transmitter building and medium wave antenna are quite clearly shown on Google Earth. The tower appears as a short shadow with a circular ground pattern around it. This transmitter site was activated somewhere around 1986. There seems to be no indication of electrical power generation on these 2 otherwise vacant islands, so it's possible that an undersea cable provides an electrical feed from nearby Noumea. In the 80s and 90s, a scattered network of FM relay stations was built for Radio Noumea, and in 1994, the shortwave service for island-wide coverage and beyond was closed. However, the 20 kilowatt medium wave outlet on 666 kHz is still on the air today, and it's heard quite widely throughout the South Pacific vastness due to the saltwater takeoff for the radio signal. Around the middle of the 1980s, Radio Noumea was noted with a signal on another medium wave channel, 1260 kHz. The transmitter for this channel was probably the same 4 kilowatt unit that had been used temporarily in Noumea in 1970. It was now transmitting from another location, Mount Eupini, almost in the exact centre of the island of New Caledonia. This 1260 kHz channel provided a temporary relay for the island-wide FM radio service, while a new FM unit was readied at the same location to provide a permanent relay. In the second week of September 2005, international radio monitors in the United States and Australia had a new medium wave station on the air in New Caledonia. This new facility on 729 kHz proved to be a 5 kilowatt unit at Touho, a little more than halfway up the east coast of the island. These days, Radio Noumea is on the air via a multitude of FM stations throughout the New Caledonia Islands, as well as via 2 medium wave outlets in Noumea on 666 kHz with 20 kilowatts, and in Touho on 729 kHz with 5 kilowatts. The shortwave units were closed 21 years ago, never to return. Interestingly, in 1984, RFI, Radio France International in Paris, did give serious consideration to building a large shortwave relay station on the island of New Caledonia. At the time, they were studying the feasibility of using either a dedicated relay station on New Caledonia or a part-time relay via the SLBC, Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation shortwave station at Ekala in Sri Lanka. However, as things worked out, neither option was taken up. Back to you, Jeff.
Nouvelle-Calédonie première. Pub.
Dans 5 minutes, à 7h-10, nous retrouverons Jérôme Colombin pour Nouveau Monde et aujourd'hui il nous présentera une nouveauté, le numéro de téléphone jetable. Numéro de téléphone jetable. Vous avez bien entendu. Tous les détails dans 5 minutes avec Jérôme Colombin. Pour le moment, il est 7h24.
An identification there from Caledonia Premiere, which is the new name for Radio Lumea. Thanks very much to Ray Robinson of KVOH for that report. And incidentally, KVOH in Los Angeles is adjusting its hours, Ray tells us, effective from today, March 8th. KVOH is now going to be on in Spanish on 17,775 kilohertz, Monday through Friday, from 1400 to 1900 UTC. And in English on 9975 kilohertz, Tuesday through Saturday, from midnight to 0500 UTC, and Sunday and Monday from 0100 to 0400 UTC. Work on the installation of their new 100 kilowatt terrace transmitter is still ongoing, a lot more challenging than we had anticipated, says Ray, so that is still a few weeks away.
You're listening to Wavescan from Adventist World Radio. Send your comments and reception reports to Wavescan, Box 29235, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46229 in the United States. That's Wavescan, Box 29235, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46229 in the USA. Or you can email us at wavescan@awr.org. Email once again, wavescan@awr.org.
Last week on the program, we had the first part of our recording that Jerry Plummer of WWCR and I made at the recent High Frequency Coordination Conference in Muscat, Oman. Today we continue with part 2 of that report.
And your relationship that you've established with Salim, the main person, has developed into a good thing. I think you guys get along pretty good.
Yeah, we've had a lot of contacts over the last year organizing this thing, and we'll be talking with Salim here on Wavescan very shortly in a future edition.
I'll be talking to Ulrich Chip, too.
That's right. Now, Ulrich Chip is the chairman of the HFCC, has been for, well, since it was founded.
Since it's founded, right. 90s or something.
And he didn't run for another term at this year's conference, so
he's not really stepping down. He's stepping to the side, I guess you could say.
That's right. He's becoming a second vice chairman, I think. But
he's still doing a lot of work out of the Prague office, you know.
Yes.
But the HFCC is soon to have a new chairperson for the first time in its history, the second chair ever in the HFCC, and I think you know him quite well, don't you? I believe it's you.
Well, I think that was largely your fault.
You didn't come to the meeting. You got elected. You know?
It's an honor and a privilege to be the second chairman of the HFCC. I don't think I will last anyways near as long as Chip, but the organization, I think, will continue to run very much as it has.
Yeah.
And it's with the 2 annual meetings for coordination, also the close cooperation with the Arab States Broadcasting Union, and the Asian Broadcasting Union.
Yes, don't forget those. And of course, we know that Ulrich is still willing to help you in whatever areas that you require assistance, and that's a very useful thing.
Definitely. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. The new chairman, Jeff White.
Well, I'm sure I'll have a lot of help from you and others.
It'll work out well. Like you said, it's not a whole lot of change, really.
That's right.
In that sense.
That's right. We also here had an interesting trip into the interior of Oman on the last day of the conference. That place called Nizwa, and fort, very historic. There are lots of forts in this country.
Well, no kidding.
Mountain-top forts, and the Portuguese built forts here.
Yeah, I was going to say it's Portuguese, wasn't it? Didn't they say Portuguese at one time?
Yeah, the Portuguese controlled it, and of course the British controlled it for a long time.
They did.
And what I was surprised to learn was that Oman was at one time an empire, and they controlled
what's now
parts of East Africa.
They did. They certainly
Tanzania, I think.
Tanzania and Zanzibar.
That's right. Yeah.
I didn't know that until Salim was talking. I didn't know they had that out. I think like 1960 or something like that.
Yeah,
fairly recently. Yeah. In fact, one of the shortwave towers or broadcasts is aimed directly at the expatriates that are in Zanzibar.
That's right. And I guess there are a lot of Omani expatriates also in Europe.
That's where that one goes to. Yeah.
So that's their shortwave service. I think we said those were the two primary areas towards Europe and towards East Africa.
Toward East Africa, the sure was. I didn't know none of that.
Right. And most of that's in Arabic, like you say, to the expats, but also I think they have a couple of hours in English.
They do have 2 hours of English, and I picked it up in the United States. It's sort of interesting, too, those forts. Here, this is their winter, and in Fahrenheit terms, it's like 75, but they say that in the summer, it gets, like 46, I don't know, 125, 130 degrees Fahrenheit, Oh, wow. That's hot.
Yeah. Of course, it's desert here, and there's some mountains as well.
Mountains going right to the sea in some cases, Very, very interesting. They're very spectacular, actually,
And then I'm going to an area, after the conference in the southern part of the country near the Yemen border called Salama. And there, they have, well, I get to see it, but because it's in around August every year, July and August, they have the monsoon season, they call it. And all of a sudden, the desert becomes green with all the rain and mist, and all sorts of animals come out. It should be really interesting.
No, I didn't know about that. August, you said?
It's July and August, but it's only that one time of the year.
But that's
the rest of the time it's brown.
No kidding.
But the sea is right nearby, so it's a nice place.
It's a very nice place. We've had a good week. It's been a productive week. We had a very good turnout of attendees from all over. And, as usual, it's a lot of coordinating, but I think it's been one of our better conferences recently.
Definitely. There was an interesting presentation about the latest developments in DRM.
Sure was.
Some of the projects that are going on.
There's new stuff going on there, too. Maybe that is going to break out. That looks closer from what we heard yesterday.
Right.
And I know you say every year, but this really did sound fairly realistic. We can talk about some of that more later on,
Right.
But congratulations on your award of being the chair at HFCC. Or rather, we should say your banishment.
Well, the most appropriate thing at this point is to give due recognition to owner Chip for his, how many years of service now? Since around 1989, 1990, I think.
25 plus years.
Yeah.
He has forgotten more about shortwave than I know.
He was the ex-engineer, chief engineer of Radio Prague.
Yes.
And also hosted the DX program at Radio Prague.
He sure was. And was one of the last out, remember? Now, you'll hear, we've been interviewed with him, I'll be hearing on Wavescan, but he was telling us about his role in the 1968 invasion, which is pretty scary, really.
It's amazing to hear about it.
It is totally amazing.
Well, another successful conference, and the next one will be the last week in August of this year, 2015. Australia. Brisbane, Australia.
Brisbane, right.
On the northeastern coast of Australia. Hosted by Reach Beyond Australia, which is CJB Australia.
Exactly, that's exactly right. And those plans are shaping up quite well, too. I've never been to Australia. I'm certainly looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to meeting again, as you are, all the attendees, where we get together one more time and coordinate the different scheduling. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure you are.
It'll be the first time the HFCC has ever met in Australia or that part of the world.
Oh, yeah, no kidding, no kidding.
This would be interesting.
Of course, Russ is going to be a long flight, like all of us. It's okay.
Long flight from the U.S. Okay, well, thanks, Johnny. And in coming editions of Wayscan here, we'll be, as you mentioned, talking to some of the folks that we met here.
Not met here yet. All right, Jeff, sounds good. I'll see you later.
Okay. Well, thank you very much to Jerry Plummer of WWCR in Nashville, Tennessee, which, of course, broadcasts this program, Wavescan. We were talking there in Muscat, Oman, at the High Frequency Coordination Conference, and we'll have more reports from the HFCC meeting on upcoming editions of Wavescan. Now, let's go to Henry Umahai in the Philippines with his DX report.
Hello everyone, to the dear shortwave listeners of the Philippine DX News. This is report number 96. I'm Henry Umaday in Bacolod City, Negros Occidental, Central Philippines. Glad to be back and thank you for listening. Reception logs for January 2015. January 4, NHK World Radio Japan on 11740. In English, from country Singapore, at 12:25 UTC, SIO 333. January 13, Radio Free Asia 9940 in Burmese, from Tinian at 1640 UTC, SIO 333. January 14, Radio Pilipinas on 17820 in English, from Tinang at 0315, SIO 333. January 15, KBS World Radio on 9570 in English, at 1320, SIO 343. January 18, P8WH Palau on 17725 in English, at 0200, SIO 433. January 19, Radio Taiwan International on 15320 in English, at 0310, SIO 333. January 20, Voice of Mongolia on 12085 in English, from Ulaanbaatar at 0930, SIO 333. January 23, Radio New Zealand on 15720 in English, from Rajapaki at 0310, SIO 333. January 25, Voice of Vietnam in English on 12020 at 1235, SIO 333. And January 28, Radio Japan at 17810 in Japanese, from Yamata at 0206, SIO 343. We have a special USO card just for you. For your reception report, please send to US dollar. Written postage will be greatly appreciated. And once if you want to get the transcript of today's Filipinas DX news, please visit http://filipinasdx.wordpress.com. That's http://filipinasdx.wordpress.com. Follow us also on Facebook, www.facebook.com/FilipinasDX. Or you may want to send us your comments, suggestions, reception lines, and information to filipinasdx@yahoo.com. That's PILIPINASDX for filipinasdx@yahoo.com. This has been Henry Umaday for Wavescan in Bacolod City, Negros Occidental, Central Philippines, saying mabuhay at maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Henry Umaday. Well, William Catalan of Ballston, Maryland, in the United States, tells us that the first QSL he ever received was from CBX, the CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation medium wave station, located near Edmonton, in Alberta, Canada. He states that he heard station CBX with 50 kilowatts on 740 kilohertz some 40 years ago on the night of December 18, 1974. He also states that the distance between the transmitter in Canada and his receiver in the United States was nearly 2,000 miles, his best ever distance record on medium wave. William Catalan in referring to his QSL card from Canadian medium wave station CBX, mentions several items of interest regarding the history of the station. Originally, CBX, with its 50 kilowatts and 10 kilowatts, was located near Lacombe, approximately halfway between Edmonton and Calgary, around 100 miles distant from each city. The station was launched in 1948 with studios in Edmonton. However, to improve reception within the city of Edmonton itself, a slave relay station was inaugurated with just 100 watts on 740 kilohertz. 3 years later, the power of this unit was increased to 250 watts. Then in 1964, a new CBX with 50 kilowatts on 740 kilohertz was constructed near Edmonton itself, and both the Lacombe High Power Station and the low power CBXA were closed down. The QSL card that William received from CBC, CBX Edmonton, is their familiar blue bullseye card, and it verifies the reception of the second CBX with 50 kilowatts on 740 kilohertz at the more recent location near Edmonton. As the first QSL card that William Padillon ever received, it remains a treasured item in his QSL collection. Music from New Caledonia ends this edition of Wavescan, the international DX program from Adventist World Radio. Researched and written in Indianapolis by Dr. Adrian Peterson. Next week, the BBC Far Eastern Railway Station, temporary relay via SLBC Sri Lanka. Another report from the HFCC conference in Muscat, Oman. Our Bangladesh DX report is scheduled next week, and our special QSL of the week, Silence is Golden. Several QSL cards are available for your reports on this program. Send your AWR and KSDA reception reports for Wavescan to the AWR address in Indianapolis and also to the station your radio is tuned to, WRMI or WWCR or KVOH, or to the AWR relay stations that carry Wavescan. Remember, too, you can send a reception report to the DX reporters when their segment is on the air here in Wavescan from Japan, Bangladesh, the Philippines, Australia, and India. They will verify with their own colorful QSL card. Return postage and an address label are always appreciated. Our Wavescan address is Box 29235, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46229, USA. That's Wavescan. Box 29235, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46229, USA. Our email address is wavescan@awr.org. That's wavescan@awr.org. I'm Jeff White at WRMI in Okeechobee, Florida. Till next week, good listening, everyone.
International, Okeechobee, Florida, USA, and www.wrmi.net. Send us your comments and reception reports to info@wrmi.net. or by regular mail to WRMI, Post Office Box 526-852, Miami, Florida 33152, USA.
MINI